Alright, so we've completed the 3 legs, and you can see I've got the blue painter's tape wrapped around them. I'm making sure that these are pulled in tight all the way around. Everything looks tight. We've got our gap. Remember, this little piece up here, I believe it was A4. You have to have a gap on both sides so that a rubber band can slide in there. If you don't have that gap and a rubber band can't slide in there, you can't get your toe or finger of the landing gear to come out like it's supposed to, because that's where it hooks up at. So we'll set these off to the side to let them finish drying overnight. And we're going to build the little cam latch that goes on the fin, and it locks these in place. It actually locks into this to keep the fin from the leg from landing out. One thing we're going to need off another sheet, it's the latch spacer, a little T thing right here, and we'll just punch it out. These pieces do come out fairly easy, so don't lose anything. When I pulled all these pieces out of the parts here, they were parts inside of parts, I put them inside this medicine bottle until I'm ready to use them. Excuse me. I also have a little metal tin that I use. I always keep little baggies and medicine bottles and everything else around just in case I need to put small parts into it. So popping them out is pretty easy. We just push in on them. And like I said before, Tim did a really good job of really doing the laser cutter on these things to make them pop out really well. Now, these, just be careful because there is a little tooth, and just about everything's come out by spinning, but there is a little tooth right up there. You can see by my finger, that little tooth. We don't want to snap that off, so be careful about that. And a lot of times just a little wiggle and stuff comes out. Now we want to get that centerpiece out. Toothpick or anything else, but remember, protect the tooth and just pop it right out. Protect that tooth again. It pops right out. So we've got those 3 and our spacer. When we glue this up, we're going to have this piece here and this piece here, and then we're going to have our spacer piece right here. Now we're not going to glue the spacer in. That's just to make sure that we are the right distance so that the fin can fit in here, and this slides up into the fin. So we're going to glue this up just like we did the other one, the fins. Just going to take and put a little bit of glue on them. Make sure we get the corners. And then a little bit of glue right there. And we'll slide our piece in. I can actually put a little bit of glue up in here because that piece touches wood. Pretty much if it touches wood, you want to put some glue on it. And we'll set her in there, and then we'll set this piece in there. And right after we do that, kind of wipe off the extra glue. There's going to be glue all over. And we're going to kind of put the cam spacer in there, and we're going to pinch it. And we're going to make sure everything squares up nice and well. And again, this is so that we have the proper space for our fin. So now we've got that all held in there. We're just going to pinch it tight. Keep everything lined up. And we're going to hold that until the glue sets up. And then we can let this go. So we just got to pinch nice and tight. So we'll do the other 2 of these for a total of 3, and we'll get on to our next step. Alright, now we're building the little pod or top part that holds the legs in the upward or launch position. We're going to need the D1, which is the 2 pieces, the D2 and the D3, and the spacer. So the fins were all each fin on 1 piece of plywood. So each fin was a piece of plywood, 3 pieces. This is the 4th piece of plywood. It has the struts. It also has our strakes on it. And then the other one has our fingers or our tips of the fins and our temporary glue spacer that we need for making these top parts here. So we're going to go ahead and snap that out. And this will be helping us keep our spacing good on these. Now on D2 you see there's a little gap that goes to the rear part of the assembly. So you have a sloped edge going down, and then you have the flat top, and make sure that that notch is to the rear where the flat top. Okay, so let's glue it up. We know we're gonna put glue anywhere that the tabs are going to touch. So we know along the front inside, some glue. We know on the tab here. And inside here. And we know back here in this little tab area, and then, or the notch, and then on the 2 tabs. So we got that all ready to go. And we're going to set that down. Make sure you're lining up properly so that you don't glue the same side. You got to be opposites. So a little glue here on the tab, more along here, a little bit more along here, and then inside the notches. Be sure to get those corners because you know that's a spot where they will be grabbing at. Glue's getting a little thick. It's been sitting out in the open for a while now. Okay, so now we have our temporary spacer to help us with the spacing. We'll set that piece there. Take D3. I'm going to put the numbers on the pieces facing inward so nobody can see them. Even though I will be painting, I don't want a chance anybody seeing the numbers bleed through or anything. Again, the notch goes to the rear. And then we're going to assemble it into this piece here. Push everything in nice and tight. There we go. Wipe off our excess glue on the outside. I will be sanding again, so I'm not too worried about being perfect with wiping all the glue off on the outside. On the inside, we're going to pop the spacer out, take our little glue stick, and we're going to run it along the edges and make sure that we remove all that glue on the inside. We don't want the legs to catch on anything. So we're taking out all this glue. Again, I've got a little flat ruler I can do the same thing with. Sometimes it actually works a little bit better. There we go. Okay. And we're going to put it back onto the spacer. There we go. And we'll go ahead and give it a couple good squeezes. Get back into the spacer. And it's really important to use this spacer because this is going to make sure it's the exact distance that it needs to be to fit into the notches that's on the body tube, so that it'll line up and fit into those notches properly. So we want to make sure that we get those all right. Alright, so we got 2 more to glue up. We'll let this one finish setting up, and then we'll move on to the next one. Again, I want to leave it in that spacer as long as I can to make sure that it sets up really good.